If you like cozy and simulation games, especially if you're planning to play heavier games like Enjoy, then this video is for you. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my personal experience and hopefully help you decide if you're going to get a PC or a console. The first thing you need to consider is what type of gamer you are. Are you more of a casual gamer or are you more of a hardcore gamer? And what I mean by that is, do you play a lot of competitive games? Like, do you play a lot of first-person shooters, for example? Because you need to consider if you are going to need a lot of performance, if you're going to need a lot of frame rate, you know, things like that. Because people that play shooting games, they need a lot of performance, they need the game to be very smooth. And also, like, are you always trying out the latest games? Do you play for many hours? Because then you need to think of comfort and ergonomics. If you play for many hours, then being comfortable is probably very important for you. And also, do you use a computer for all the things like video editing or work? Okay, so now let's break it down. So first thing, the performance, graphics. If you do care a lot about that, then there are some consoles that are not going to be good for you, and probably PC will be best for you. One example is that the graphics in the Nintendo Switch are usually not as good as the graphics could be in a computer, of course, depending on which parts you have. And the same goes to performance. You know, the frame rate in some games can drop a lot on the Nintendo Switch. So these are few things that you have to consider if performance and graphics are very important for you. But if you're like a casual gamer, like you like to play The Sims, or you just like games that don't need performance, like you don't need to shoot someone at the right time, for example, then you're probably going to be okay with any console. Also, if you're always trying the latest games, usually games, they take a while before they are released on console, and they usually come to PC first. So if you always like to try the latest new games, then you should probably consider getting a PC. For example, Enjoy, when it comes out, is going to only come out for PC, and some people are speculating that it might take up to a year before Enjoy comes to consoles. So that's something that you need to consider. Another thing to consider is if you play for many hours, because you need to be comfortable and you need to be safe while you're playing. So if you are in a certain awkward position for many hours, for many days, you might get hurt, and these type of injuries are usually quite serious and they're quite hard to heal if they are curable. So you need to make sure that you are comfortable and that you are in a nice, safe position while you play, if you play for really many hours. If that's your case, you can still get a console, but you then have to look at which console you're going to get, because some consoles, they can force you into a very bad, awkward position, especially the grips. So that's something that you need to look into it carefully, because you don't want to buy a console that you can't play for many hours because it hurts you. And usually if you get a PC, you're gonna have to get yourself a good chair, a good table, you know, with the correct height, all of those little things. Next topic that I think we need to talk about is if portability is important to you. So nowadays what we're seeing is that companies are getting rid of the old school consoles that you just plug in your TV, and companies are investing more in portable consoles. One example of that is that Microsoft is trying to get rid of Xbox. So if you're thinking of buying an Xbox, I would advise you not to, because Microsoft wants to stop that. And Sony is working on a portable PlayStation. So most companies now are going to invest in portable consoles. So it's important to you to figure out if portability is important to you or not, because if it is important, then you need to think, if you do want portability, then you should probably choose between a laptop or a console. And with consoles, it's just easy to say that it's way better for portability, because they are usually small, lightweight, you can just turn them on and just start playing. And with a laptop, you need a lot more space, they're heavier, and you need a space for your mouse. So there's quite a few things that you need to consider. So if portability is very important to you, I would probably say get a console, a portable console like a Nintendo Switch or a portable PC like the Steam Deck. But if you only travel like here and there, you usually around the house, then maybe, but you still travel, then maybe you should consider getting a laptop, like, because it's easy to put in your suitcase, it's easy to travel with it. So in that case, maybe a laptop. But if you have a lot of money, by all means, get yourself a desktop PC for your house, and then a console for when you travel, for when you go away. Another thing to consider with regarding portability is how do you play games? Because going back to the previous topic, if you're just a casual gamer, you just play like maybe an hour a day, then maybe you should consider getting a console, because you can play it like anywhere in the house, you can play it lying down. And if you're just going to play for 1-2 hours, you're probably going to be okay with the economics of it. So if that's your type of profile, you only play like a couple of hours a day, then I highly recommend getting a console, because it's just easier. You literally just turn it on, start playing very quickly, and you can play anywhere. Now moving on to the next topic, you need to think, what games do you like to play the most? If your favorite games and the games you play the most, if they are simulation games, then probably consider getting a PC. But if it doesn't matter to you, if you just play like Stardew Valley, farming sims, like Disney Dreamlight Valley, games like that, then it doesn't really matter if you get a PC or a console. If you like mostly to play The Sims, you want to play in Zoe, or if you like to play other simulation games like City Skylines or Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, then I would probably recommend getting a PC, just because those games were designed to be played in a PC, and you're going to have a much better experience with a PC. And some of them are not even available for some consoles, so especially if you're thinking of Nintendo Switch. So keep that in mind when you decide. And now moving on to game varieties. It's a fact that we have a lot more variety in PC. We have a lot more options for games in PCs. If you like to play and try very different games, if you're always trying new games, then I think PC would be best for you, because you just have more options. A lot of games are not available on the Nintendo Switch. And on the Steam Deck, for example, some games will not be compatible with the Steam Deck, but then you also need to remember that if you're thinking of getting a Nintendo Switch, if it's because of the games, then fair enough, because some games are Nintendo exclusive, so I understand that's a very important thing for some people, because some people really love Nintendo games. Next, we need to talk about mods. If you like playing with mods, then you probably need 100% to get a computer, because it's just not compatible with consoles like PlayStation 5, for example. You can't use mods in The Sims in PlayStation 5, or Nintendo Switch, you can't mod games on the Nintendo Switch. On the Steam Deck, you can still use mods on the Steam Deck, but it's not as easy to set it up as it is on a computer. So that's something that you need to consider. Now, upgrading. I think this is the most important thing that you need to think about, is upgrading. So I'm going to give you one example with Inzoi. So my computer at the moment has the minimal requirements for Inzoi, and I was able to play the Character Studio. But the intro of the Character Studio was very laggy, and I don't know how the actual game is going to perform on my PC, even though I have the minimal requirements, so we have to wait and see. But let's say that it doesn't run well. I have the flexibility to get specific parts that my computer needs to be able to run Inzoi well. And if you're thinking of a console, it's very likely that you're gonna have to buy a new console if you can't run a certain game well in it. So you can't upgrade specific parts of a console usually. And the same goes to laptop. If you buy yourself a laptop, you would probably have to buy a whole new laptop, a newer laptop, if you need to upgrade something. So this is something to consider, because if you have a PC, you can just buy the part that you need. Like if you just need more storage, you just buy more storage. But if you need more different graphics card, you can keep your processor and just buy a new graphics card. And then in the end, upgrading PCs are cheaper than upgrading consoles or laptops, because laptops and consoles usually have to buy a whole new console or laptop. Now moving on to peripherals. I don't know how to pronounce that, but what I mean by that is the mouse, keyboard, headphones. So with the computer, you have a lot more variety of those things. There's a lot more variety of mouses, keyboards, and just things that you can plug in your computer and use it. And with consoles, Not every console supports mouses, so if you're getting a portable PC like a Steam Deck, you're gonna be fine. You can use keyboards, you can use mouses, but I believe it has to be Bluetooth mouses and keyboards. But you can use them with the Steam Deck like a portable PC. So if you have to think, if you like playing with mouse, then it's probably best for you to just get yourself a PC. So yeah, this is something that you need to consider as well, I think, because the way you play, of course, is going to interfere. If you like to play with mouse, you should probably get a computer, but if you're not bothered, then you can just get yourself a console and just play with a controller. And don't forget that with PC, you can also play with a controller. So with PC, you have a lot more flexibility with that. And then last but not least, you have to consider if you have the skills that it takes to build a PC. So building a PC, honestly, I think anyone can build a PC as long as you do the proper research, as long as you look into it properly so you don't break any of your parts. But it's something that you definitely need to consider, that if you're going to build your own PC, you need to know how to build the PC. So I have no professional knowledge to computers, anything like that, and I was able to build quite a bit of my PC just by looking online on how to do it with like tutorials and stuff. So it's definitely doable, but if you don't feel confident, or if you just don't want the hassle, then there's something that you need to consider. You can still buy a computer that is already built. You can buy pre-built computers. So yeah, but it's something that you have to consider, especially if you want to upgrade. You're either gonna have to learn how to do it, or you're gonna have to find someone to do it for you. Okay guys, so these were my advices to you to hopefully help you decide if you're getting yourself a PC or a console. Talking about myself personally, I love playing all types of games, but mostly life simulation like The Sims, and I do plan on playing it Zoe, but also like to play other games like Stardew Valley, Disney Dreamlight Valley. So for me, it's just easier to have a PC because then I can play all of those games on my computer, and I can easily upgrade it if I need to. And also I use my computer for other things like video editing. So for me personally, computer is just more suitable for my profile. So yeah, I hope these tips helped you decide which one's better for you. And also, if you have the money to do so, I highly recommend getting yourself a computer as well as a portable console. I hope to one day buy myself a portable console too, because I really love the idea of just turning it on, lying down on my bed and just playing like Disney Dreamlight Valley on my bed, and also being able to travel and carry the console with me. So if you can, I would suggest buying both. But if you have to decide, I hope these tips were able to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.